Hey guys, I just published a post on my website that explains how you can organize your practice of scales, arpeggios, and other key-based exercises. I'll link to this post in the description below this video. However, I'd like to share my thought process with you and give you some highlights now because I think you will find this strategy to be very helpful. When I was originally getting my music degree, I remember finding scale and arpeggio practice to be a little on the tedious side, and this is probably due to the fact that I really didn't know how to organize my practice. And so I just did everything that I knew how to play in every key every day that I practiced. And of course, this wore on me after a while. And so I remember asking one of my music professors about this, and he suggested that I try to play everything that I know that's associated with a particular key each day. And he referred to this as the key-a-day approach. While I initially found this helpful, I soon realized that I didn't really know how to circulate through all of the keys in any sort of systematic way, unless I charted it out or created a schedule or something like that. Also, when I practiced this way, I found myself missing the routine of just sitting down and playing all my scales in order, like chromatic order, back to back, or arpeggios, or whatever. Any particular exercise, I'd like to just repeat them in all of the keys. And I did this because I found this very beneficial in building speed. This leads me to point out that there are two basic ways to organize your scale and arpeggio practice, and they're sort of opposite of one another. Outside of simply practicing everything that you know every day or adhering to some sort of schedule, you could practice the all things in a key approach or the all keys for a thing approach, which is basically where you just play all your scales or all your arpeggios. Both ways of organizing your practice do have their advantages and disadvantages, and both are highly beneficial to the point where you probably shouldn't be picking one over the other. At the very least, there should be seasons or periods of time where you focus on one method and then maybe switch it up every now and then. However, we still need a way to systematically circulate through everything. And another ridiculously important thing to mention is that we really want to practice using spaced repetition, especially after sleeping. This is very necessary to developing your abilities as rapidly as possible. So how can you practice in such a way as to coordinate multiple ways and methods of practicing the same material, while also taking advantage of spaced repetition and repeating material over a period of days? How can you do this without getting stressed out by scheduling and organizing your practice from a spreadsheet? The answer is to use flashcards. So I have some flashcards right here, and before you say, flashcards, that's not exciting. It is exciting, but you got to use them in a specific way, okay? All you have to do is write the name of each of the things that you need to practice on a flashcard, and you need to circulate them for a few minutes each time you sit down at the piano. You can create a flashcard for each key or each key signature, and you can also create a flashcard for each technique that you might want to repeat in all keys. Feel free to be creative here. And so here's an example of my flashcards. Here's B minor, D major, right? All my major scales, and I have a specific BPM that I wrote down on the card, so that's where I start. Then a minor key, and then all my minor arpeggios or whatever, right? So I have both keys, where I'll do all things for a key, and then I have techniques, where I'll take one technique and repeat it through all the keys. And so when it doesn't even matter if it's all shuffled, which I prefer this to be shuffled so that it's random. And I pick one, and I'll practice the thing on the card, and it totally works. However, the most important thing that makes all of this work is that you really need to leave each flashcard out on your piano until you're totally satisfied with the material, even if it takes days or weeks to master something. By focusing your practice in this way, you'll eventually become skilled enough to cycle through the material regularly. So for example, let's say I drew the minor arpeggios card, okay? I'll put that right here, and that's how I'm going to spend the first few minutes of my practice. If by the end of that 5 minutes, I don't feel like I am super competent, if not improved, at my minor arpeggios, then I'm going to leave this card out, and I'm going to sleep on it. And the next time I practice, I won't draw a card. I will just play this card again. And I want to get to the point where I can do the thing with as little warm-up as possible. Once I can do it with barely any warm-up and it's really easy, I feel like this is a good time to put the card away. And so in this case, you can just put it on the back of your deck, or you can put it into a discard pile, which is what I do. Now, there's a little more to it than this, which is why I created a post with all of the details and instructions. So I'd like to encourage you to check that out. By the way, I'm not suggesting that this is the only way you should practice. However, I found this to be a particularly effective and fun way to practice. Instead of using flashcards, you could try practicing all major things on one day and all minor things the next. Or you could practice using a rotation of 3 to 4 things per sitting. However, I found that using flashcards is far simpler, and it's more lighthearted, and it's just easier. And I also think it's more effective. Keep in mind that the more you group things together, the greater the potential is for spending your practice time on things that don't really need it. The flashcard system helps you by putting the practice right where it's needed the most while maintaining everything else. Anyway, I hope you find this information helpful. Be sure to check out the post for more specific details and instructions. Thanks for watching.